WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert comes out and denies what we all see. All of us see it. The players see it. The coaches see it. The fans see it. The damn parking lot attendants that's standing outside of the venues that's not even in the arenas can see it. That there's a major referee issue with the WNBA.
Now, we know WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert pretty much is not a fan favorite. She's been quiet in most parts. She's looked upon as being a fraud. And quite frankly, people was asking for her to step down, bro.
Accordingly, effective immediately, I am...
Prohibition? One remark, straight from Adam Silver, changed everything. I am banning Brittney Griner from the WNBA with immediate effect. There was complete quiet before it struck. The league as a whole simply froze. However, individuals were aware of the impending storm in their hearts. Not at all. Months earlier, Griner was recorded on camera pursuing Caitlin Clark, hurling elbows, yelling obscenities, and attempting to break her. Additionally, click the like button and subscribe immediately to see where this rabbit hole takes you. Surprisingly, more than 90% of viewers are still not subscribers. It takes a second, is free, and keeps these tales going. So, have you entered yet? Thank you if you are. Really? Let's return to the floor now. The tension in the room was palpable. Everyone saw it, yet Caitlin Clark remained unflinching. She cooked on the court, took the knocks, continued to roast defenders, and maintained her composure. Griner immediately fouled out. "You don't fear me," Caitlin remarked, giving her a direct look. Everything broke at that point. Because there are other issues here besides Griner. Perhaps a greater person is in charge. Engelbert, Kathy. They whisper her name behind the drama and the quiet. Upon closer inspection, you can see that this goes much beyond a straightforward ban. This appears to be a huge cover-up. Let's remove the layers. The entire sports world went crazy when NBA Commissioner Adam Silver abruptly entered a press conference and revealed the truth. Brittney Griner was immediately expelled from the league. Instead of a lifetime ban, fans anticipated a severe suspension and possibly a fine. However, there was more going on here. Silver did not merely use Griner as an example. His message was harsh. He declared that corruption will not be tolerated. However, it went beyond what she did. Why now was the true question. Griner was the WNBA poster child for nearly 10 years, an Olympic champion, a consistent all-star, and the first woman to regularly dunk. However, Silver talked with a cool, methodical precision. There was no farewell tour or warning shot. This is not the place for actions that jeopardize the integrity of our game. What then did she really do? A major covert inquiry took place behind closed doors in response to a barrage of allegations from players, coaches, and the media. They discovered years of unpleasant backroom manipulation, pulled strings, and manipulated games. Fans couldn't get rid of the feeling that something wasn't right, even when Silver swung the big hammer. The woman who ought to have put an end to this years ago went unpunished. A much darker reality was seething beneath Kathy Engelbert's sponsorships, large smiles, and eye-catching highlights. A pattern of unethical manipulation was revealed by the covert WNBA investigation. Games were created, not merely impacted. Griner was linked by leaks to dubious private meetings, covert conversations with referees, and silent backstage pressure. According to an insider, whenever the playoff race got close, her team always received the ideal whistle. Just a coincidence? It was anything but, as Silver's inquiry revealed. According to a reliable source, Griner's team had direct access to scouting files, ref assignments, and private information. Additionally, they implied that she had sway over important league employees, probably through behind-the-scenes management ties. However, none of this was novel. For years, the murmurs have been resounding. Why then did the WNBA hold off for so long? The value of simple Griner was excessive. She filled arenas. She attracted wealthy sponsors. She served as a shield for the league throughout those difficult years. Nobody wanted to deal with the tempest she would create when the WNBA finally took off. However, her personal transgressions were not the only reason for this ban. It has to do with everything the league overlooked. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert steps into the spotlight at this point because, if Griner had that authority, someone gave it to her. Brittney Griner life appeared to be a basketball fairy tale prior to the fall. She was a force, winning gold, swatting shots, and putting on a dunking clinic. She was hailed as the WNBA's savior. In a league in dire need of attention, she was a true generational talent. The huge endorsement deals came in right away. She oversaw youth camps, represented the nation abroad, and rose to prominence as one of Nike's primary global brand ambassadors. She was their crown jewel before she turned into their worst nightmare. But deep within, fissures were already beginning to appear. Drama in the locker room, yelling at referees during games, and disobeying team rules were all reported. On and off the court, Griner was turning into a nightmare. However, the league chose to ignore this. Why? Since she continued to earn them money. Her last years became poisonous. Reporters noticed strange game tendencies, and rumors became leaks. There was no escaping the truth once it was revealed. Witness testimony, text logs, and audio recordings were compromised. The actual catch is that the league has to release her. Stars don't fall by themselves. They are constructed and protected by systems. Kathy Engelbert served as Griner's shield. And the investigation unfolded in a suspenseful manner. Anonymous tips flooded in, emails were exposed, and whistleblowers spoke. Investigators discovered clear connections between Griner and unethical calls made by referees, particularly during major games. According to sources, Griner was complaining about assignments and attempting to manipulate the matchups by mentioning specific referees in her texts. The second tape, which was taken in a tense hallway after the game, was the worst. Griner was caught red-handed after he instructed a referee to maintain a tight whistle in order to secure their playoff spot. This was far more than trash talk. This was blatant game rigging. The backlash was immediate after Silver's inquiry revealed a poisonous web of favoritism in which Griner essentially controlled referees and top executives. Officials were suspended. Senior executives were discreetly expelled. All of a sudden, Griner was the league's worst enemy. However, the consequences raised a more significant query. What was the duration of this? In reality, who knew? It turns out that many people, including the WNBA's top player, were aware. Kathy Engelbert received more than a heads-up. She was repeatedly cautioned. She opted for quiet. But the moment Silver mentioned the tapes, everything fell apart. Prior to it, the accusations made against Griner may be dismissed as mere gossip, misfortune, or simple jealousy. However, actual audio recordings, rather than rumors, are concrete evidence. According to insiders, the league has at least 2 terrible audio recordings. A dramatic meeting in the locker room is purportedly captured on one film, while another shows Griner attacking a referee in a post-game hallway. In the tapes, Griner asks why she isn't receiving calls, advocates for changes in momentum, and even singles out particular players for the referees to observe. Even the most devoted league employees were greatly shaken by it. According to sources, Silver watched the videos and took swift action. There was no denying the evidence. This went beyond simply disobeying the law. Griner was actively working on game fixes. There was no spin or appeals after that hit the light, just the hammer. However, a much darker question is revealed by the tapes. Who gave permission for this access? Referees should never be cornered in private by players. This was not an isolated error. It was an obvious pattern, and patterns cannot be concealed without top cover. All of the clues now pointed directly to Kathy Engelbert. Her primary responsibility was to safeguard the sport's purity, not only corporate logos or commercial deals. How could she have forgotten that? According to insiders, Kathy Engelbert was aware of Griner's complaints for more than 2 years. Players have brought their concerns straight to league headquarters. Staff members who wished to remain anonymous voiced concerns about dubious backroom transactions and strange refereeing. The problems were even noted in official reports by internal compliance teams. However, nothing took place. According to reports, Kathy Engelbert buried the problems by directing them through a series of pointless internal processes. Some say she purposefully sheltered Griner from criticism in order to preserve the league's reputation. Why would she act in such way? Easy money. Griner was a huge attraction and the WNBA's marketing goldmine. Even if it meant foregoing accountability, Kathy Engelbert needed Griner as her poster kid since she had dedicated her entire career to expanding the league. That risk was a huge failure. Kathy Angelbert can no longer hide behind public relations spin now that the inquiry is complete and the tapes are out to the public. Reports mention her silence appears to be complicity. Fans, players, and the media are calling for Kathy Angelbert to be the next person banned after Griner. In any true scandal, the individual who permits it to occur bears equal blame to the actual offender. There is pressure on Kathy Angelbert. Rumors in locker rooms have become a major problem. Although Silver was successful in banning Griner, fans are still not happy. They have specifically targeted the commissioner. Kathy Angelbert was more than just careless, according to her detractors. They think she deliberately planned the cover-up. According to several accounts, Kathy Angelbert got early access to the audio recordings and documents that showed referee bias and Griner's power plays. Some claim that she ignored follow-up inquiries. Others assert that she gave legal teams instructions to keep the matter under wraps until the media learned about it. The firestorm has arrived. Silver's decision to handle the disciplinary procedure without consulting Kathy Angelbert says it all. It demonstrates the NBA's complete lack of trust in the collaboration. They don't trust Kathy Angelbert to clean up this mess because this type of intervention is unprecedented. Sponsors are reportedly in a panic, some have halted contract negotiations, and, worst of all for the league, current players are beginning to voice their opinions. Everywhere, hashtags calling for Kathy Angelbert's resignation are trending. Sports networks are receiving calls from former athletes seeking complete openness. Even new stars like Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark are reportedly outraged behind closed doors. This is no longer only a scandal. It's a reckoning. Not only did Kathy Angelbert fail to put an end to corruption, she made it possible. The WNBA may not bounce back if she stays. You need star-level credibility to defeat a superstar. For this reason, Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark's support was vital. Benchwarmers are not what these are. They are symbols. The most viewed rookie in league history is Caitlin. Additionally, Sophie is among the most formidable two-way players. People lean in as they talk. Everything was altered by what they disclosed. Both did not hold back when speaking with investigators. They described instances in which referee calls abruptly changed, causing momentum shifts that had no basketball-related logic at all. Caitlin Clark especially cited instances in which defenders got away with murder while her teammates received whistles for insignificant touches. Playing against Griner, according to Cunningham, felt entirely staged, like attempting to run uphill while the referees are aggressively pushing you back. However, the audio was played during the testimony, which was the true blow. Caitlin Clark allegedly said, "I heard Griner's voice pressuring the refs. This was happening the entire time." There, every trace of skepticism vanished. Silver might never have had the power to take action if Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham hadn't stepped up. Their bravery transformed mild suspicions into a major public catastrophe. Both players are hailed as heroes for preserving the game's essence. However, taking that stance had serious repercussions off the court, particularly for Clark. Furthermore, she wasn't exactly supported by the league she saved. In the meantime, the Griner affair worsened right when you feared it could. Whispers regarding Griner's true gender identity and a major multi-year cover-up by WNBA leadership are the ugliest twist to yet. Even though it is extremely sensitive and uncomfortable, everyone is talking about it at the moment. Quiet whispers regarding Griner's biology have been floating around the periphery of the women's basketball community for years.